would say they could. It's not a bad idea. I think they should get out.
Tensions in the Middle East are rising sharply as Iran issues fresh warnings and the United States begins precautionary military moves across the region. A senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, Ali Shamkhani, has warned that Tehran would respond forcefully to any attack. He pointed to Iran's previous missile strike on the U.S. Udeid Air Base in Qatar, saying Washington should remember how Iranian missiles targeted the base after earlier U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Udeid is the largest American military base in the Middle East and hosts around 10,000 U.S. troops. Iran fired missiles toward the base last year, causing limited damage but underscoring the risks of escalation. Against this backdrop, the United States has reportedly begun withdrawing some personnel from military bases in the region. A U.S. official told Reuters that the move was precautionary, citing heightened regional tensions. Qatar confirmed that precautionary steps are being taken at the U.S.-run Udeid base, including the departure of some personnel. Qatari authorities said the measures are aimed at protecting citizens, residents, and critical infrastructure, and that any further developments would be announced through official channels. Diplomatic sources say the situation remains fluid. Two European officials told Reuters that U.S. military intervention now appears increasingly likely, possibly within the next 24 hours, though no official confirmation has been made. An Israeli official also said President Donald Trump appears to have taken a decision to intervene, with the scope and timing still unclear. Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene in support of protesters in Iran, where the government is facing the most severe unrest since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Rights groups say at least 3,428 people have been killed in a sweeping crackdown, and more than 10,000 people have been arrested. Iran's leadership has blamed foreign enemies for the unrest. Armed Forces Chief of Staff Abdul Rahim Mousavi said Iran has never faced this level of destruction, while France's foreign minister described the crackdown as the most violent repression in Iran's contemporary history.
The Zionist regime's threat against the Islamic Republic of Iran today is a real threat in a way, an existential threat to us. We have taken this threat completely seriously, and we are in fact preparing ourselves commensurate with the magnitude and scale of this very threat. These incidents, which were in fact the exploitation of a normal professional protest in their country, turning it into a riot and then into an armed terrorist operation, showed that they had completely planned it, and these series of they will continue the 12-day war, but with the efforts and determination of our security, police and military forces, they were suppressed. Many of those who fired upon our armed forces were punished.
We can now offer our help on two specific issues. One is truly in line with these rioters and accelerating the handling of cases and another is in relation to now fighting economic corruption. That's your and my job. We can help give people some hope. Another is the government's task, and they're not right now. For some time, we've all been saying, helping and trying to get the government to finally, if it can, bring some order to the economic situation, currency control and market control.
A situation where truly people are beheaded, burned and set on fire.
Well, if we want to get something done, we must do it quickly first. Let's do it on time. If, forgive me, the work gets delayed, we might even do this very task we're doing today 2 months from now, but it won't have the same impact. If we were able to complete a task today and we do it 2 or 3 months later, it simply won't have that effect.
Meanwhile, U.S. diplomatic missions in the region have issued new security warnings. The U.S. mission in Saudi Arabia has advised personnel and American citizens to limit non-essential travel near military installations, citing ongoing tensions. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has accused Israel of fueling violence and attempting to draw the United States into a direct conflict with Iran. He said Washington should know exactly where to act if it wants the violence to stop. As warnings, troop movements, and diplomatic accusations intensify, the region appears to be edging closer to a dangerous confrontation, with U.S. bases, regional allies, and civilian populations all watching developments closely.
That they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what your where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
The crisis in Iran is beginning to spill beyond its borders. Tehran is warning neighboring countries that host U.S. forces that American bases could be targeted if Washington intervenes in Iran's ongoing protests. A senior Iranian official told Reuters that the message has been conveyed to several U.S. allies in the region, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Turkey. Amid rising tensions, diplomats say some personnel were advised to leave the U.S. military's Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Officials described the move as a precautionary posture change, not a full evacuation, and there were no immediate signs of large-scale troop movements. Still, the development has raised concern across the region. The warning comes as U.S. President Donald Trump has publicly threatened action in response to Iran's violent crackdown on protesters. In recent interviews, President Trump warned of very strong action if Iranian authorities execute protesters. He also urged Iranians to continue demonstrating, saying help would be on the way, without offering further details. The United States has also increased economic pressure, announcing new tariffs on countries doing business with Iran and urging American citizens to leave the country.
U.S. airstrikes, if it comes to that, will have the result of protecting the protesters.
Well, you never know, do you? You never know.
Do you think it's
So far, my track record's been excellent, but you never know.
Do you think it's going to be something kinetic like that, or more like cyber? Or
Well, I can't tell you that. I know exactly what it would be. We have to make a decision. But I can't be. Obviously, I can't be telling you.
Timeline, timeline. Intel.
Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it's worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Mr. President, on Iran, do you have a message for the leaders currently of Iran?
Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem, and I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
So are you committing not to sending U.S. troops into Iran?
Why would I tell you that? Why would I? I don't talk about military strategy with a reporter, you know, even though I do like the Financial Times.
Are you consulting with our allies regarding Iran? What are they telling you, and why do you think the Iranian...
Well, I'm not going to tell you what they're telling me. I don't tell you what they...
Why do you think the Iranian leadership continues to defy you, Mr. President?
You think they are?
Well,
it's only been a couple of days.
They continue to kill protesters.
Well, they said that about Venezuela, too, you know. It's only been a couple of days. They haven't defied me. They haven't done anything as far as we're concerned. But it looks like they're killing a lot of people, but it has not been confirmed. I'll know very soon.
Freelancer, the premier of Freelancer today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the
Who said that?
The premier of Freeland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is, don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him.
Do you want to see democracy in Iran?
Ideally, you'd like to see it, but what we want to see is we don't want to see people killed, and we want to see a little bit of freedom for these people. These people have been living in hell for a long time. You know, that used to be a hell of a country. I have friends that used to invest in Iran, and they did well with their investments. It was a great place. The people were great. Even the leadership was good. And now it's living in hell. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Americans woke up this morning and they saw that you said help is on the way.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of help on the way, and in different forms, including economic help from our standpoint, and not going to help Iran very much. And, you know, we put Iran out of business with their nuclear capacity, and now, depending on what's actually happening, nobody's been able to give us accurate numbers about how many people they've killed.
Well, on that point,
but it looks
Mr.
like
President,
it could be a pretty substantial number, and that's going to be a lot of problems for them.
in this strong action you're talking about, what's the end game?
The end game is to win. I like winning.
How do you define
And we're
that in
winning.
Iran?
Well, let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out. Let's define it with Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where he wiped out their Iran nuclear threat in a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration, as it turns out, which is what I said initially. Then some questioned it, and they said, you know, Trump was right. So we've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, you know, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to work out good.